Remember when Windows used to feel simple? Fast startup. No ads, no random apps you never asked for. I installed a custom Windows build that brings back the entire XP vibe, but with modern support underneath. And after using it for a few days, regular Windows 11 started feeling bloated and annoying. There's a reason so many people are switching to setups like this. Hello and welcome to HT. And if you're one of our daily viewers, welcome back. Today, we're putting Windows XP 2026 Edition v2 head-to-head against Windows 11 to see how they compare in everyday use. And if you're wondering where you can get your hands on this OS, you'll find the download link in the pinned comment, along with the installation tutorial from our channel, Apetus. Let's start with something you'll notice immediately. Pre-installed apps. Windows 11 comes with a crowded start menu. You get pinned apps, recommended content, and a long list of software you may never use. Out of the box, there are 34 pre-installed apps, and many of them can't even be removed. That leaves Windows 11 feeling cluttered before you've done anything. Windows XP 2026 Edition takes a different approach. The start menu is clean, no pinned apps, no recommendations, no distractions. The pre-installed app count is 0. You decide what goes on your system, not Microsoft. Now let's look at disk usage. A clean installation of Windows 11 consumes 23.7 gigabytes of storage. That's a large chunk of your drive gone before you've installed a single application. Windows XP 2026 Edition uses only 7.82 gigabytes after installation. That's significantly smaller, significantly lighter, and it leaves much more room for your programs, games, and personal files. Next comes the test everybody wants to see: idle RAM usage. On a system with 4 gigabytes of RAM, Windows 11 sits at 2.8 gigabytes while idle. That's more than half your memory already in use when you're doing absolutely nothing. Open a few browser tabs, launch a couple of applications, and the system can start feeling sluggish very quickly. Windows XP 2026 Edition performs much better here. On the same 4 gigabyte machine, idle RAM usage sits at around 1.5 gigabytes. That's a much cleaner starting point, and if even that feels too high for your needs, you can go further with Velotic Pro. Just open Velotic Pro, head to the cleanup page, and enable AI RAM cleaning. Within seconds, RAM usage drops to around 0.7 gigabytes. If you want a Windows installation that's cleaner, lighter, and uses less memory, Velotic Pro is a useful tool to have. And just to be clear, this isn't a sponsorship. It's an application that we built ourselves. You sit down at your PC with a goal. It should be simple. Open, start, move fast. Instead, it hesitates. Loads pile up. Every click feels heavier than it should. Velotic fixes that at the root. This is not a surface-level cleanup tool. It takes control of how your system behaves. From the moment you run it, your PC responds the way it was meant to. Clean input, fast output. No friction, games run without random drops. Apps launch without delay. The system stays consistent, not just right after a cleanup, but every single day. Velotic watches how you use your machine and adjusts in real time. CPU and GPU tuning happens automatically. You get performance when you need it, stability when it counts. It removes clutter before it turns into slowdown. It shuts down background waste that drains your system. It keeps Windows intact while removing what holds it back. You gain access to over 500 proven tweaks. One action removes bloat. No guesswork, no risk. You install what you need instantly. No setup struggle. Storage pressure disappears. Safe compression frees space without touching your files. Everything stays intact. Your system runs lighter. This is not a quick fix. This is a long-term shift in how your PC performs, built over years. Used daily by people who cannot afford slow systems. Improved with every update. Install it once. Performance stops being a problem. Velotic, built for people who expect speed. Now push it further. Turn your Windows 11 into Tiny 11 or Windows 10 into Tiny 10 with just one click. Open Velotic. Go to debloat. Press play on Tiny 11 or Tiny 10. One action. Full transformation. No data loss, no broken features. Same machine, completely different experience. Check the info section or the guide in the description if you want the full breakdown. You have already felt the frustration. This is the alternative. Moving on to CPU activity. An idle Windows 11 installation runs with around 160 processes, 2,327 threads, and roughly 67,000 handles. That's a lot happening in the background. On the same hardware, Windows XP 2026 edition runs with around 100 processes, 1,356 threads, and about 37,000 handles. That's a substantial reduction. Fewer background tasks can mean lower temperatures, lower latency, and better gaming performance. Now let's move into a real-world benchmark. Geekbench 6. This is where the differences become easier to measure. Windows 11 finishes the benchmark with a single-core score of 2,175 and a multi-core score of 5,706. Running the exact same benchmark on the exact same hardware under Windows XP 2026 edition gives us a single-core score of 2,375 and a multi-core score of 6,600. Same machine, same benchmark, different results. We'll place the benchmark links in the description so you can review the numbers for yourself. Let's take a look at configuration options. Windows Defender works perfectly fine. In Windows XP 2026 Edition v2, it's disabled by default so it doesn't consume resources in the background or generate unnecessary false positives. But if you want it enabled, the process is very simple. Open the Configure app, go to the Defender section, click Enable. That's all there is to it. Windows Defender is now active, and you can verify it through the Security Center if you'd like. Now let's talk about updates. Security updates remain enabled by default. That means important security patches continue installing in the background to help keep your system protected. Other updates are paused. You should only enable them if you specifically need them, since resuming updates can sometimes lead to Microsoft automatically reinstalling unwanted software. If you prefer, you can disable all updates from the Configure app. However, we don't recommend doing that because disabling updates completely can break Microsoft's Store functionality. Speaking of Microsoft Store, it works exactly as you'd expect. Since Windows XP 2026 edition ships without any pre-installed applications, you'll likely use the store for everyday utilities like Notepad, Calculator, and Snipping Tool. Simply launch Microsoft Store, search for the application you want, click Get, and installation begins. If you have a Microsoft or Xbox account, you can sign in and access your previously purchased apps and games as well. And once installed, applications like Notepad work exactly as they should. Now let's push things to the limit. We're going to test the system with just 512 megabytes of RAM. That's an amount of memory that takes us back to hardware from the early 2010s. Windows 11 won't even run below 4 gigabytes of RAM. Windows XP 2026 edition can operate with as little as 512 megabytes. You can technically go even lower, down to 256 megabytes, but that requires removing features and making compromises. We don't sacrifice stability simply to chase smaller numbers. That's why 512 megabytes is the minimum configuration we officially support. And as you can see in Task Manager, this system is genuinely running with 512 megabytes of RAM. If you're interested in getting Windows XP 2026 edition, you'll find the purchase link in the pinned comment. We provide security, support, and ongoing assistance that you typically won't get from unofficial builds. Yes, there are free alternatives available online. The problem is that many of them are unstable, broken, poorly maintained, or in some cases contain malware. What you're getting here is a stable, safe operating system built for daily use. And if something goes wrong, we're here to help. So if you're interested, grab it while the current deal is still available. Thanks for watching. This is the Harbor of Tech, sailing off.